Hello, my friends. This is Zed here. I just wanted to talk to you guys a bit about what's going on over at Cloud Imperium Games and the drama that's unfolding. I'm sure a lot of you already know. Uh, Maybe some of you don't know, and this will be like a first for you guys. Probably not, though. I mean, this is blowing up everywhere that it can. It's very interesting what's going on right now with Cloud Imperium and with Escapist magazine, and especially with Derek Smart. I'll start off by prefacing this. Yes, I do have a lot of money put into Star Citizen. Uh, it has no way influenced my decision on who I'm believing in this, but I'll give you some information right off the bat about everything that's going on and what you guys should be thinking about when you're trying to make a decision on who to support and what matter or not. Now, before we get started about Cloud Imperium, I just want a little bit to tell you guys a little bit of background of Derek Smart. Now, Derek Smart is an indie developer. He is actually an indie developer. Like, that's not a lie or anything like that. The guy has been around since the Usenet days. He made some space simulators that were not panned out as being very good. I bought Universal Combat when I was, I don't know, 12, maybe 13, from a store. I saw a space sim game and I was like, you know what, I loved Freelancer and I loved Wing Commander and I loved Star Wars, all the Star Wars flight sims, so let me pick up this game. Came with like a 90-page manual, and it took me 3 days to figure out how to play the game, and then another day to figure out that there was nothing to do in the game. Even when you've read the entire manual and played. Now, I wasn't a stranger to reading manuals because, with other space sim games, there were huge manuals that you had to read and everything like that. I was just like, well, somebody made this game and I don't know who it is because I don't really look into that thing because I'm 12, 13, 14. And I'm not gonna research into that. I don't really have that great of internet, and I don't want to waste my time on the internet looking at this kind of stuff. So I played all these space sim games I never really even knew about, like who was developing it and everything like that. So there's that. Anyway, so Derek Smart is the guy. He's like the original Phil Fish. Okay, this guy, he goes onto any website that even mentions his name, and he's there. I mean, it was a meme back in the Usenet days to, if you mention Derek Smart, he shows up like the boogeyman. Or like when you say Bloody Mary into the mirror. If you say Derek Smart 3 times, he shows up behind you. This guy, he's not like a pariah of ethics in any case. I mean, he showed up at the airplay debate for Gamergate a while ago, and I was confused as to why he was there. I mean, this guy is the same guy who bans anybody on his forums for not agreeing that his game is the most amazing thing in the world. And I'm not kidding about that. I can send links if people request them to pictures of what he does on his forums. I believe recently he put his game behind a paywall, the game forums behind a paywall, so you have to buy the game in order to even comment on it, which hasn't helped his story at all either. Anyway, on to Cloud Imperium. Star Citizen is Cloud Imperium's first game. It is not the developer's first game by any stretch of the imagination. Everybody who works there is AAA developers or new to the industry and not in any managerial position. in any way, shape, or form. Maybe Disco Lando. I don't think that he was in community stuff before that, but I could be wrong. I don't know his career. I don't really follow that. I mean, he's a community manager, so he's like Ben Lesnick. Ben Lesnick's been a community manager since Wing Commander. He likes to throw that out there a lot. Chris Roberts worked on every single one of the Wing Commander games, freelancer, and all those good games that you remember as a kid. And I remember the problems in development that a lot of these games had. Now, I didn't really ever look up stuff, but I did follow, when a game was coming out using like the gamer magazines and whatnot that were really rampant in that time. So you could pick up a gamer magazine and you'd read all about this kind of stuff. And there was always talks about delays with Chris Roberts' games. Everybody knows that. It's not. It's a really public thing to know that Chris Roberts tends to delay his games for whatever reason. Now, I don't really care what that reason is. You know what? Games get delayed. It's not an unprofessional standard that anything will be delayed. I have not worked in a single company or business or anything like that without there being some sort of delay when delivering a new product. It's expected, and depending on who you are, you might not like that or whatever, but that's just your prerogative to be impatient. Sandy Gardner is apparently Chris Roberts' wife. Nobody really knew that. They never really mentioned anything like that, but for some reason Derek Smart seems to use that as like a detractor. Like, you can't have family working in a business with you. Really, dude? I mean, that's not like a bad thing. I've read through most of Derek Smart's blogs and everything like that, and a lot of stuff that was recently posted in this Escapist article was directly pulled from his blog. Chiefly, the biggest evidence there is Derek Smart in his blog. I forget which post it was because he's made multiple on Star Citizen, but he says that he did the math and they only have about $8 million left to play. I don't know where he pulled those figures out. Probably out of his ass. That's the only place I can figure that he pulled that out of, because nobody knows exactly how much Chris has been paying his employees. Nobody knows how much money that they've gone through at all, because they've never mentioned a single instance where they've said how much money they've gone through. Now, if I'm wrong on this, go ahead and write in the comments. Tell me exactly where I'm wrong on this, because I have been following this game since the Kickstarter. I didn't back during the Kickstarter phase because I was very poor at the time. I didn't have the money to go and spend $45 on a Kickstarter game. And on top of that, when I found out about it, it was like 3 days left in the Kickstarter. And yeah. So anyway, on to the main event, as it were. The Escapist wrote an article claiming that, and yes, I am using the word claiming here, because when you write something that is basically saying that one of your top employees is racist, and you don't write it as an opinion piece, and you don't write it as a joke or anything lack thereof of any sort of integrity, you are making a claim that whatever you're saying is fact. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because when you have sources and when you vet sources, you're basically saying that what these people are saying is fact. That's how journalism works. I don't think the Escapist understands that, but I've written, I don't know how many papers in my college courses about journalistic integrity, and I've researched into this to the point where, you know, maybe I should start becoming a journalist, because I clearly know more than these people do, but I don't have a degree in journalism like these people do either. I'm not saying Lizzie has any I don't know, doesn't have any journalistic integrity. I'm sure that she's written many articles that I have not read that are perfectly fine. But here's the kicker right here. Okay, she wrote in that Sandy Gardner, who is the VP of marketing, she's an actress working on Squadron 42. She is Chris Roberts' wife, apparently. Nobody really knew that until a letter came out saying, you know, she's my wife, so what? Which, again, it doesn't really matter. Your family can work for you. Everybody knows that Chris Roberts' family is working with him ever since he opened up a studio in the UK with his brother. You know, I don't even care if he has his 5-year-old daughter working in there. It shouldn't matter. You know, a guy should be able to hire his family. That's how life works. You know, you've got family and they need work, and you know, you have a business. Let them work for you. I know I live in Portland, so I know many family-owned businesses. That shouldn't matter at all. Anyway, she was writing that Sandy Gardner, and I'm quoting here, has said, "We're not hiring her. We're not hiring that black girl. And we're not hiring people who are over 40 because they're harder to fire." Like, you're gonna tell me that you took this from one source or two, who knows, they're anonymous, and you're gonna put that down in an article that people are gonna receive as fact. And don't give me the people know that you can't take, no, that's crap. That's utter crap. And every single journalist knows that when you write something down, it is being taken as fact because you have sources. People learn from school that when you have a source, you're writing non-fiction. You understand? Non-fiction. So they're saying that Sandy Gardner has said a bunch of racist comments, and they're saying that she doesn't want to hire anybody over 40 because they're harder to fire. And the reason why that's such a big deal is that they're only down to $8 million, which is apparently common knowledge in a company of 261. And just to clarify, nobody is going to know how much money that they have in reserve in a company like that. I don't care if it's crowdfunded. I don't care if anything like that. The only thing that those employees, I guarantee know, is exactly what the fans know, and that's that the game has risen $90 million. That's probably all they know. And you know who knows exactly how much is in the coffers is Chris Roberts, maybe Sandy, and their finance people, whoever that may be. Now, there's an entire branch of CIG that we don't even know, including the legal team, who I'll get to later, and I think it's hilarious what's going on right now. So they made all these claims. They're construing them as fact. And then on top of that, you have Derek Smart, who is blasting up his Twitter, talking about how he blew the lid on everything when the Escapist claims that Derek Smart was not used as a source. Now, I'll tell you this is why this is bullshit. Because CS1, who's their anonymous source, is quoted as saying that it's common knowledge that they only have $8 million left. Now, this can go one of two ways. Either one, there's an ex-employee, which is possible. It is entirely possible that there is actually an ex-employee here. There's been a lot of rumors floating around that it might be Elijah something. I had the name written down. Now I don't have it anymore. He was a freelance concept artist that worked with CIG in the early days to work on the crossbow for the Kingdom Come Deliverance kind of, I don't know what you'd call that, a collaboration or something like that, who was let go from the company pretty quickly for constantly complaining about the vision that was going on there, saying that it couldn't be done, which is another source. I can almost guarantee is another source in this quote investigation. Now, he was on his Facebook blasting the company for, you know, who knows how long. I got bored and lazy, and I stopped looking at every single employee's Facebook a long time ago. I just think that it's not worth it. Now, you have this guy who's blasting up Facebook, who could be one of the sources, who could have been in contact with Derek Smart this whole time. But then you have Lizzie writing down that one of their sources say that it's common knowledge that they only have $8 million left. This $8 million figure only has ever come from one person, and that's Derek Smart. His blog says it. You can look in his blog, and he says, I've done the math. They only have $8 million left, and they're running out quickly. How do you know that they're running out quickly? How do you know how much they're paying their employees? How do you know how much money is being sunk into advertising, which there is none? Anybody who's followed the game as long as I have, or even more than 6 months, would know that they don't have any advertising. They had commercials for ships that people have been complaining about that they completely stopped doing, because they were like, hey guys, you know, we have all these ships done already. We don't really need to advertise them anymore. Let's start working on the game. Let's get all the people that were working on the advertisements, who was an entirely different team, mind you, who they said multiple times is a different team, and put them to better use working on something else. Quite possibly the Squadron 42 cutscenes and etc., because they're the ones that are working on the pre-rendered stuff. I mean, the most flimsiest arguments I've ever seen in my life are being used here, and people are taking it as fact. And I think this is ridiculous. This is just moronic to the largest degree. To the largest degree of just idiocy. Are you kidding me right now? Ever since the game has launched, people have been detracting it for one other reason or another. The first time that I saw detractors saying that the game was never going to get done was they were saying that we were never going to fly a ship in the game because the CryEngine can't handle vehicles that well. Taking away from the fact that in the first Crytek game, Crisis, you could fly a hovercraft in the game, which obviously the idiots don't know that you can do that. And then Arena Commander comes out. So then, instead of admitting that they're wrong and stupid, they say, oh, well, this is all you get? Well, you're never going to be able to fly around in a big persistent universe like they're saying. 64-bit rolls around. Nobody admits they're at fault. I'm not wrong. No. You're never going to have FPS. You can't have both in a game. CryEngine is a first-person shooter engine that comes with guns in default. If you've ever worked with the CryEngine, as I have, you'll know that you can literally make whatever you want, and you can set down the Crisis guy right in the middle of it with a gun, with the what is it, that first Crisis gun, the Scar. Then there's not enough money to make this game argument. This game is now the 15th, listed as the 15th largest budget game of all time. The first being, I believe it's Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, what people don't realize about Grand Theft Auto is it costs $500 million to make it. More than half of that was used to just advertise. So they factor in the advertising costs with most of these games. With advertising costs taken out, Grand Theft Auto 5 was around $140 million to make. It took 5 years, or around 5 years, 5-6 years, and Star Citizen was announced in October of 2012. It is currently 3 years in development. Currently. Which means you start to see the game coming together. What you would see in a AAA industry is nothing. Case in point, Fallout 4. Nobody even acknowledged that it existed until 4 months before it came out. 5 months before it came out. It's releasing in November. The only reason why people are saying that this game is never going to get made is because they work on a completely different model from AAA games, and nobody understands what that means. I'll tell you what that means right now. They announced their game in GDC 2012, and they showed off this pre-built stuff that 5 people made, which includes the Bengal Carrier, the Vandal Scythe, and the Hornet, and then a couple of assets that they bought in order to just fill up space inside the Bengal, including asteroids and whatnot. And if you take a look at that footage, which I will post in the description, by the way, the game looks absolutely nothing like what the game looks like now. Nothing at all. Which means that they rebuilt every single asset that they had for GDC, meaning that development did not start until crowdfunding finished. And I will stand by that. That development did not start until crowdfunding finished. They announced the game, they got their $2 million, and then they went off to work making a better game than what they showed off at GDC. On top of the fact that during the hangar module, the Hornet went through 3 different iterations and upgrades, including the PBR update, which they discovered that they had to rebuild a lot of the ships. The only asset that is still the same from when the hangar module first came out is the Freelancer, and that even had a change to it with the loading dock, because people thought that it was too steep. Now it's going through another iteration change. This is not something that's going to add any time to the project. The project has multiple teams working on it, as you would in any sort of large company. You have a team working on the Freelancer. You have a team working on the Cutlass. You have a team working on the Hornet. You have a team working on this. This is how every game studio does this. This is not new. Just because you have one team working on an advertisement does not mean that the Constellation is not having an art pass too. You guys are acting like the 261 people are all one art development team that's working on one thing at a time. Are you kidding me? You must be kidding me. Now, other detractors say that there's feature creep. Around 40, maybe 50 million, they completely stopped doing any, I think it was actually 59 million, I want to say, that they stopped doing any additional features. They got to the point where they were getting so much money that they were trying to figure out what else that they could put into the game, because they thought that people wanted the extra features. They thought that that was the reason why they were getting so much money. They even said that that's exactly what it was. They put up a poll that says, hey, we don't really know what else to put in the game. Do you guys still want these things? And we said, no, we don't care about that. We just want you guys to have the money to be able to finish the game. That's literally all it is. And there's people out there saying that they're still adding more feature creep. Where? Everything that they've added so far has been a part of the original design plan. And that includes whatever stretch goals that they've added in. That is all it is. Now, let's talk more about the Escapist article, because I've just disproved most of the detractors' comments right there. The Escapist posted that CIG was doing illegal things. Not just the ageism, not just the racial stuff, but saying that Chris Roberts and Sandy Gardner were stealing money out of the coffers, which they don't need. Mind you, Chris Roberts ran a movie company or a production studio for more than 10 years. He's made his own movies with his own money and got the profits from those movies. He doesn't need any more money. If anything, he's putting his own money into the game. If anything, he's putting his own money into the game. And he probably will if he does run out of money. He wants this game to be made. There has been no change in in anything that he has said since he went up on stage at GDC 2012 and said he was excited about making this game because he finally could. And he still has that look in his eyes. He doesn't look depressed. He doesn't look like he's lost faith in anything. He doesn't sound like he's lost faith in anything. Why would he be stealing money? What motivation would he have to stealing money? Greed? Oh, sure. Everybody's greedy. Everybody's greedy. But you know what? Just because you've been burned on Kickstarter a couple of times does not mean that every single person on Kickstarter is a failure. Look at what is that? The castle game. I don't even remember. I don't even want to think about it. You got people on early access who are trying to scam me out of money. Well, look at the Stomping Land. You're gonna get scammed. You know what? You're gonna get scammed. I'm sorry to say it, but that's exactly what's gonna happen. That is exactly what's going to happen. You're going to get scammed by some people. Some people are just too damn greedy. And he may be greedy. Who knows? Does it matter to you if you have not bought into the game at all? Does it? I don't think it does. Why are you trying to save somebody else from being scammed, even if that is the case? Nobody wants to be saved. If we make the mistake, then so be it. We made the mistake. Hindsight is 20/20. But if we're right, which we are, this game will be released. Then everybody who's been detracting, you know what's going to happen? You're going to slither in your hole and you're never going to admit a single mistake ever again. You're never going to admit your mistakes. You want to know why? Because you keep putting in this caveat in every single one. I hope this game succeeds, but. I hope this succeeds, but. You know what that sounds like? I'm not racist, but. Or, I don't mean to be a dick, but. That's exactly what this is. And when you post up things that are shown as fact, and don't give me that, oh, nobody believes this is fact, or, oh, she's not responsible for posting this. This is what an anonymous source said. No. That's not how you do journalism. You don't just take the word of the guy on the street who says, hey, I'm homeless right now, but I used to work for Cloud Imperiums. You want to know what they said? If you give me $20, I'll tell you exactly what they said. This is ridiculous. Now, when the Escapist posts an article like this that's saying that CIG is doing illegal things, they have to respond now. They didn't want to respond to any detractors. They wanted, what they showed at CitizenCon to shut them up. They've been wanting that since they started CitizenCon. Since they started doing everything when it comes to, going to PAX, going to E3, going to this, that, and the other convention, going to Gamescom. Every time they want to show something to somebody, and they're not just showing it for the fans, they're showing it for you guys who are detracting the game, saying, see, look, here's exactly what you said we couldn't do. And still, you come out with something that says, this is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Who cares what you think? The CIG cares what you think. You want to know why? Because they want to prove you wrong. But you don't want to admit that you're wrong, ever. I don't think a single person, and this includes JCRG99, Derek Smart, Lizzie, whatever your name is, Lizzie. I'm just gonna call you Lizzie from now on. I don't even have the patience to look up your full name. I don't. And the Escapist. Now, the Escapist is one people that can say that they were wrong. They're going to apologize by Monday. That is tomorrow. So this is Sunday today. This is Sunday. And tomorrow, by the end of the day, if a retraction has not been printed, an apology not been printed, CIG is going to come at them with a libel suit. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, this is just an empty threat. It may be. But at the same time, a lawyer is not going to write up this letter saying that they're going to throw in a libel suit if they don't know for sure that they were going to win. Because if it does go to court, they have to be showing every single bit of evidence that shows that what Lizzie said and what the Escapist said is wrong and lies. in order to win that liable suit. That means that they have to publicly, well, they don't even have to publicly display, but they have to display their financial information. They have to display all these HR emails. They have to display everything that goes on in the company. And then on top of that, the Escapist has to show that their anonymous sources are real. They have to prove that their anonymous sources aren't doing this out of malice because they got fired for doing something stupid, or they got fired and they don't believe that they, should have been fired. And I've been in the same boat before. I felt like I didn't need to be fired, but I was fired anyway. I was a little disgruntled, but I wasn't going to defame a person, especially somebody who has not ever been a part of this conversation. In Sandy Gardner has not been a part of this conversation at all. And I would not be surprised if next week she didn't even show up in Around the Verse because of all this crap that's going on. And then the Escapist has to prove that their vetting process was proven, and it wasn't from Glassdoor.com. Now, the Glassdoor.com reviews are quoted word for word from Glassdoor.com. The article quoted them word for word, and they were posted 2 to 3 days before the article came out. Now, you can say anything that you want, but when the Escapist posts up an article that says we vetted them and they're real because we said that they're real, is bullshit too. That's literally what they said in their "we're standing behind this post." I don't know what the reason behind standing behind this post is by saying that we're adhering to our own ethics policies. Your own ethics policies are basically saying that you can defame and libel a company, and all you have to do is post up 7 anonymous sources that you cannot confirm to anybody but yourselves are real. Now, this is what really gets me here, is that people are taking that article and being like, see, they did vet them because they said that they vetted them. Are you kidding me? You're kidding me, right? This is going to be the title of the video. Are you kidding me? All you're doing is you're doing the same thing that you did in the original article. When you're taking this as fact, you're saying, "Oh, see, I knew something weird at CIG was going down." See, and then when there's a backlash for your article, and then you write in, "We vetted them and they're real because we said they're real," and then you have people commenting, "Oh, I knew you guys were ethical because you said that you're ethical. Thank you." You're kidding me, right? Can you be that mentally weak that you can't look around? You can't you can't look at all the sources. I've read every single one of Derek Smart's blogs, and all I have found in there was Star Citizen bad, play line of defense. And that's paraphrasing every single blog that he's ever written. Every single blog that he's written. Because in every single one of his blogs, he mentions his games. And he's not saying, "Oh, you should buy line of defense." No. Because if he did that, then he would be shown to be the idiot that he is. I've read all of the Escapist articles. I've looked into, anytime I've seen these detracting stuff, I've looked into the sources. And all I ever see is the same troll comments that I see on 4chan. In their VG thing, whatever. Lol, the game's not going to come out because feature creep. And then you spread that out over an entire page article. You spread it out over an entire page article. You're kidding me with this. And then you have the gall to say that you supported Gamergate during that time, and that you changed your ethics policy to show Gamergate that you were still good. You know the reason why you posted that up, and everybody knows the reason why you posted that stuff up was because you didn't want to lose your reader base. Your reader base being gamers and the people that supported that. That's the reason why Chris Roberts brought that up in the first place. It wasn't to shame Lizzie. It was to say, hey, I thought that you guys were supporters of Gamergate, of journalistic ethics. Did you even look any of this stuff up? Did you even, you know, ask for my response? You did ask for my response. Then you didn't post it. Are you kidding me? You must be kidding me. Now, I wanted to stay out of this debate for as long as I possibly could have. And I tried to remain unbiased. But honestly, there's no way that I can see that anything that's being said on the opposite side is true. Including the fact that the sources, if one source sounds like it's coming from an anonymous review site that anybody can post up on, that's like saying that's like a food critic going to Yelp and basing his review on his or her review on the Yelp review instead of going to the site or going to the restaurant and eating there. That's exactly what that's about. It's the same thing. And you cannot tell me that it's different. You cannot. If one of your sources sounds like it's from Glassdoor, then your whole article becomes in question. Because who knows what you could have done to get that stuff. And then when 3 of your sources sound like they come from people that don't even have any information at all, and it's just conjecture, your article becomes moot. But you can't become moot anymore. There's no way. Because you said that CIG was doing illegal things. Now you've opened up a shitstorm. Now your moot article has become a shitstorm. Your moot article has become a shitstorm. Because now you're in the range of liable. It's slander, but written, so it's liable. Which means that if it was posted in negligence, it's considered malice. Which means in the US system, it's liable. And you can be sued for liable. And then in the UK, you have even less protection on it. If it wins in the US, then the UK is going to award even more money. And then the game gets funded even more. So thanks for funding Star Citizen Escapist. Thank you. This has been Zed. I'm angry. Fly safe.